4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Two-Wheel Velocity. Today we are diving into one of the most tragic aviation disasters of recent memory, Jeju Air Flight 2216. This incident, which took place on December 29, 2024, shocked the world and left behind a trail of questions and heartbreak. In this video, we will explore the details of the crash, what went wrong, and the tragic loss of life. But most importantly, we'll reflect on the lessons we must take away from this disaster. Jeju Air Flight 2216 was a scheduled international passenger flight operating between Bangkok, Thailand and Muan County, South Korea. The flight was carrying 175 passengers and 6 crew members on board, including the pilots and flight attendants. The flight took off from Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok in the early hours of December 29, 2024. But just hours later, the plane, a Boeing 737-800, would face a crisis that would end in disaster. As the plane was nearing its destination, Muan International Airport in South Korea, tragedy struck. At 8:57 a.m. local time, the pilots received a warning about the potential of a bird strike. Less than a minute later, the situation worsened. The pilots issued a mayday alert, signaling an emergency. But what followed was even more terrifying. Despite the pilots' best efforts to perform a go-around, the aircraft's landing gear failed to dip properly. The pilots were forced to attempt another landing in the opposite direction. On the second landing attempt, disaster struck. The aircraft belly landed over 1,200 meters down the runway, well beyond the designated touchdown zone. The plane skidded along the runway, its engines scraping the tarmac, and then, with a horrifying finality, the aircraft overshot the runway and collided with an embankment. The collision triggered a massive fire that engulfed the plane, and the situation became dire. Only 2 survivors, 2 cabin crew members seated in the rear of the plane, managed to escape the inferno. Emergency services sprang into action, and over 1,500 personnel, including firefighters, military and police officers, were dispatched to the crash site. The fire was brought under control within 43 minutes, but by then it was too late for the 179 people on board, 175 passengers, and 4 crew members who perished in the flames. This crash became the deadliest aviation disaster involving a South Korean airline since Korean Air Flight 801 in 1997. The victims left behind shattered families and loved ones, and the grief that followed is still being felt across South Korea and beyond. What exactly went wrong during Jeju Air Flight 2216? Experts are still piecing together the events, but one key issue was the failure of the landing gear to deploy. This led to the aircraft's belly landing and the subsequent loss of control. There are also reports suggesting that a flock of birds may have been ingested into the right engine, leading to a fire that likely compromised the plane's ability to land safely. Another factor that may have contributed to the crash is the runway length at Muan International Airport. Although the runway had been shortened from 2,800 meters to 2,500 meters due to ongoing construction, authorities have ruled out this as a significant cause of the crash. Against all odds, 2 cabin crew members survived. They were seated in the rear section of the plane, which detached from the fuselage during the crash. They were both seriously injured but conscious when they were rescued. Their harrowing survival story is a testament to human resilience, but their physical and emotional scars will remain with them forever. The aftermath of the crash was nothing short of devastating. Over 600 human remains were recovered, and identifying the victims took days. By January 1, 2025, all the victims had been identified, and search operations were formally concluded. As for the survivors, the families of those lost in the crash were given support and counseling as they tried to cope with the unimaginable. The response from local authorities and emergency services was swift, but nothing could undo the horror of that tragic day. This crash is a tragic reminder of the risks involved in air travel, but it also highlights the importance of safety protocols, technology, and human decision-making in preventing such disasters. While the aviation industry continues to improve, there is always room for learning from the mistakes of the past. As we remember the victims of Jeju Air Flight 2216, let us honor their memory by continuing to push for improvements in aviation safety. And for the survivors, our thoughts remain with them as they recover from the physical and emotional trauma of that fateful day. Thank you for watching this deeply somber video on Two-Wheel Velocity. If you found this video informative, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more in-depth stories on aviation disasters and other fascinating topics. Until next time, stay safe and keep your curiosity alive.